And of course with taxation, everybody's talking about a cut in income tax. Well, I don't want it. I want to see a cut in VAT. I want to see its abolition. VAT is the European Union tax. It's what we call an iniquitous tax. It penalises ordinary men and women. If you go to a shop to buy a commodity, you pay 17.5% VAT. If Rupert Murdoch goes to a shop, or Tony Blair goes to a shop for the same item, he pays exactly the same, 17.5%. Why is it that we don't tell all these politicians that they should be charging on income and not on what we purchase? Yeah. Our policy is clear. We'd make them pay who got it and not those who don't. 10% of our population own and control 90% of the real wealth. And that demonstrates in a nutshell what the problem is. Our policy would do this. If you earn or receive £15,000, you pay no tax. If you earn or receive 40,000, you pay 30%. And if you earn or receive £200,000, you pay 70%. I'll tell you this, I wish every bugger in this audience were receiving £200,000, but I don't think you'd grumble one bit if you were having to pay that. But that kind of money to be paid for by them would fund our NHS, our education system, our pension scheme and our infrastructure. It will provide the necessary wherewithal for housing and for our social care benefits. I think it's an absolute obscenity that in 2008, if a person in the twilight of their lives go into a care home, they've got to pay for it and lose their home. That's got to stop. They've got no right to steal from us that which belongs to us, and all of us should raise our voice in protest against it. You know, comrades, there is a chance that we could do something different. We could have that socialist concept, that socialist dream become a socialist reality. Today, there are thousands, if not millions, of people in Britain who feel disenfranchised or dispossessed, whose lives are blighted by helplessness, by hopelessness, and by despair. The birth of the Socialist Labour Party produced howls of protest from across the political spectrum. It was once said, there is nothing more painful than the birth of a new idea. And the SLP has certainly demonstrated that that pregnancy and that birth produced that pain, but only to those whom it affected. Our critics not only include our traditional class enemies, but they also claim supporters amongst those who say they're socialists. I don't understand how anyone can claim to be a socialist and at the same time sit on the benches in Westminster while Britain kills over 500,000 people in Iraq and Afghanistan. I don't understand how those left-wing MPs can sit there while we see our lives being blighted by unemployment, while our pensions are being taken away, and at the same time not even raise a question. Don't misunderstand me. We've got many concerns, and immigration is one of them. You can't run away from it, and our party won't. we have never ever opposed immigration. We have never ever opposed asylum seekers. But we do oppose economic migrants. The reason we've got people in this country swelling the ranks of the population is not because of immigration, it's not because of asylum seekers, it's because under the Treaty of Maastricht we've got people who can freely come in to this country and take a job at a time when 5 million of our people are without a job. We and Ireland are the only two countries in the whole of Europe who do not have control over economic migration. They come into Britain and they're working for gangmasters at below the minimum wage. They come into Britain unchecked and after a year are allowed to stay. And don't get me wrong, we've had migration since the beginning of time, but it's been immigration and not economic migration. Don't forget that people like my forebears came from Ireland, but also don't forget that Ireland was controlled by Britain. And in fact, to those people who've got racist views, xenophobic views, I did a little exercise. If we sent all the people who have sought asylum or are genuine immigration people in Britain, if we sent them all back, and we did the same thing with those who've emigrated and brought them back to Britain, we'd be in a right bloody mess. I'll tell you what it would be, inshallah. You would immediately have from America 95 million people coming back to Britain. To Ireland, you'd have 45 million people going back to Ireland. It would sink. So we're not opposed to immigration. We're not opposed to asylum seekers. But we are opposed to the economic migration like every other country in the European Union, apart from Ireland and the UK, in saying that we do not accept the free movement of capital or the free movement of labour. That is in the interests of capitalism and not in the interests of socialism or in the interests of the British working class.